So, getting an officer of the law and a gang lord to travel into international waters together wasn't a simple task. But it's what happened next that crossed every boundary possible. That's a joint. I am no spokesperson for weed smoking, but it definitely fueled this form of unison and celebration. Why was this such a thrilling moment for me? What on earth brought us into international waters with the most far-between group of individuals? This seed. This not normal seed is the cause and effect to all of this. And if you're confused as to what the seed envelope is, that's totally cool. I built this global map which you can find on notnormalshow.com, where you plant a seed, which is an unfinished idea, in your city. Each week I choose a new seed, I fly to that city and complete it with you. This week's seed is by Tristan, which says, "Together we should celebrate our differences in South Africa." Welcome to my new weekly show, Not Normal.
Pictures of the bits in my brain and you can see quick sticks. So we the black sheep, not normal. Flipper with the switch and we strange. And you can say it again and take a back seat. Crazy, not normal.
72 hours ago, I arrived in Cape Town, South Africa, from Tokyo. South Africa is very unstructured in comparison to Japan. As you arrive at the airport, you drive through the squatter camps, which are the informal segment of the city, eventually reaching this kind of first world paradise, being the most and sometimes only part of Cape Town that the world is shown. It's not all like this though. This is just a fraction of it. What is actually happening behind the curtain in South Africa? Does the youth believe in its future, and is it really what you thinks it is? It was amazing to see Gabby again. These constant creative perspective shifts can be draining on my mind, and her calmness offers such a blissful escape from what can often seem perpetual chaos. Hello? It was time to meet Tristan and talk about his seed. Yo, how are you, bro?
Good, man. Good to meet you.
Good to meet you, man.
Sweet.
Come on in.
Thanks.
Fuck, bro, there's no milk. Do you like yogurt?
Yeah, yogurt's fine.
This idea of celebrating your differences, that's what really intrigued me. I read the seed, I was like, fuck, there's something so powerful there. But where is your mind at?
So for me, like, Cape Town is this diverse, vibrant place with so many cultures that are really segregated, if that makes sense. And I think that's something that needs to be showcased.
I don't think that most people understand that in a city bowl like Cape Town, how many different communities
lie within that.
Let's go to Table Mountain. On top of, if we catch a cable car and we can kind of look at this viewpoint, we can also showcase it in a rad way. I've never really looked at it like that. Tristan Smith is a 19-year-old South African white kid whose parents and siblings are all expats living across the globe. They have left for multiple reasons, but ultimately to live better lives. Tristan, however, doesn't want to give up on his home, and ideally seeks positive progression in what could be a beautifully intertwined synergy of cultures. We headed up Table Mountain, which usually gives you a 360-degree angle of the city from above. But the winter morning mist wasn't working in our favor. Okay, I'm gonna have to showcase what it looks like with my breakfast. Bear with me. You have Table Mountain in the middle here. The Europeans live up this end, known as Tamboerskloof. Over here in Boerkaap, you have the Cape Malays. And then this over here is what's known as the Boerewors Curtain, where most of the Afrikaans people live. This is Khayelitsha, where a big part of the Xhosa culture live. On this end is Sea Point, home to an age-old Jewish community. Here we have the southern suburbs, which is mostly a white suburban neighborhood. And then what's known as the Cape Flats, a very dangerous and majorly gang-run area, mostly a Muslim community. To give you context to the why, South Africa experienced apartheid, translating to apartness, a system of institutionalized racial segregation from 1948 until the early 1990s. Apartheid enforced the segregation of different racial groups, writing it into South African law. It severely disadvantaged the majority of the population, where most were kept just above destitution because they were non-white. Having technically ended in 1994, a quarter century later, the majority of the population still lives in relative, often geographically and socially separated, destitution without the means to rise from it. And while one could still argue that South Africans could now go where they please with whom they please, it is still a land of astonishing, worryful contrasts. I then took Tristan to my favorite thinking spot, the unfinished bridge. That's an example of an unfinished idea. Which reminds me of what I call unfinishedalism. From simple conversations to huge ideas, unfinishedalism says with meaningful applied creativity, you can always finish what you started. I thought I would take Tristan to a restaurant in the area that's known as dangerous or less savory. It's not at all dangerous. In fact, it has the best barbecue in South Africa. This is by far my favorite meat, probably in the world. So the idea needs to be about two completely different people coming together, right? Yeah. And in that they need to be maybe somewhat isolated from everybody else. Yeah. Like a Noah's Ark.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what is cool though, Bru, is the idea of international waters. Yeah. Like it's kind of like a free-for-all. Well, from what I know. It's like creating the difference between maybe a civil servant, like a person that abides by the law, like a policeman versus a, I don't know, prisoner. We wouldn't be able to get a prisoner.
How do you know? Do you know a policeman and a prisoner?
That's a fucking cool idea, actually.
You reckon?
International waters, a policeman, a prisoner.
And then we get them to break laws.
Get them to break laws
on international waters.
It would break the hierarchy. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And then start to create this conversation between two sides. Yeah. Let's go to my studio, bro.
Ah, Dan. How's it going, dude?
I sat down the team and explained our idea of getting two South Africans on either side of the spectrum. One a police officer and one a criminal.
We need a policeman.
Yes, a policeman. Dad, do you know any policemen? Bru, my sister's a lawyer. She will definitely know a policeman. Do you know any policemen?
Policeman, no.
I think I've got one.
When working on a previous documentary, I had gained the respect of Turner, a gang leader in Cape Town, by teaching him how to play the piano and letting him tattoo me. I just want to interject here. I do not agree nor disagree with any individual I showcase on my channel. Like any film, it's all up for audience interpretation. My job is to merely pose the imagery and tell the story through my lens. The idea here was to get them onto a boat and to go 12 nautical miles offshore to commit 5 petty crimes in international waters before posing our important question. You see, both Louis and Turner lived in the height of apartheid. Fellow South African Trevor Noah says in his early years in South Africa that he was literally born a crime, which is essentially true of Turner too. Turner's crimes were an act against the oppressive regime, which he was later expunged of. If anyone could answer the question about celebrating your differences, it would be these two polar opposites. Law number 1, destruction of government property. Destroying a fine in front of a public servant of the law. Illegal fishing. Illegal gambling. Smoking of marijuana. I already noticed a complete change in both Louis and Turner. Laughing together and just celebrating their differences, if you will. Whatever it was, and for however short a time it may be, a wall disappeared between the two, so to speak. We then walked along the dock, and Tristan got to ask his question. Is it possible to celebrate our differences in South Africa? This looks like the funniest squad photo ever.
You know, from where I grew up, I was always against white people, you know, because my understanding when I came of age, they said, hey, die put me in the light gegooid, die plek is the white people's work, yeah.
I did national service in the army. We were told to hate people of color. They were evil. Some of my friends saw me. Said, what the fuck, why are you talking to him?
The same with me, man.
That's the God honest truth.
The same with me, say, hey, wat zoek die met een fucking boer?
Yeah. I said to them, well, why don't you talk to him and find out what he's really about? Maybe he's not so bad. No, you must be crazy. With other words I could use. He's full of fucking tattoos. He's a criminal. Yeah, but he made a mistake. He's come right. Give him a chance.
It's unbelievable. But you know what I found within myself is that I didn't hate the people because who they were. You know, I was displaced. And that displacement in me, I just couldn't
Couldn't work through
I
it.
couldn't work through it. I couldn't stay out of Cape Town. Yeah. And for me, it's this, that wherever you go, people will like each other and people will dislike each other. But it's always about why. And then you must answer yourself. I've always find one thing in life is that if you don't talk, nobody will understand you.
That's the most important thing, is dialogue. Talk.
I think what I've learned today, most importantly, is like seeing how we broke it down to such a basic, like playful level, where it's like two people just chilling and like having fun together on that, but at the same time like spreading that message of like difference coming together, you know.
Thank you guys.
Shit.
I don't know why we bounced. I thought that's what you do in a group act.
Hey Dan, how's it going?
And I think what's important to mention is we're not trying to say that everybody should be friends. We're not trying to say that the whole world should get on and live in this airy-fairy mindset at all. It's rather that people probably don't take the opportunity to meet other people based on preconceived ideas without actually engaging and going like, hi, nice to meet you, I'm so-and-so, you know. For me, thank you for your seed, because I got to learn so much from this, and I got to come back home to South Africa and really use the opportunity to spread this message, which is awesome.
And don't forget, you're awesome, bro. And I'll see you next week Wednesday.
Perfect. I just want to say a huge thank you to my sponsors, B&H for the awesome gear, Epidemic Sound for the insane library of music, and Skillshare, the online learning platform for creators. There's a link in the description to get a 2-month free trial with Skillshare, so check it out. Make sure to subscribe and watch out for next week's episode where we are tackling monsoon season in Mumbai, India.